Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Interesting hot seat conversation from the last couple days since the last time we recorded on Election Day. And it involves Arkansas football coach Sam Pittman, okay? So Arkansas sitting at 5-4. The belief before the season coming in was that all Arkansas had to do was get to a bowl game. Sam Pittman would get another season. And so I bring it up because Arkansas is 5-4. They still have Florida International on the schedule. And what is interesting is that on Wednesday, so yesterday, as most of you listened to this, there was a report from On3 that the belief in the industry is that Arkansas is going to retain Sam Pittman if they get bowl eligible. Now, you lose to Florida International, it's pretty much off the table. But you beat Florida International. Florida International is the game, right? Florida International, I believe, is the game. It's Louisiana Tech. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep saying Florida International. I got Pitbull on my mind. I apologize. Okay. So you're playing Louisiana Tech. And the thought is you beat Louisiana Tech, you get to 6 wins, you get bowl eligible, Sam Pittman is coming back. Well, I bring it up to say, let me just say this. I respect the hell out of Pete Nakos. I respect the hell out of On3. I respect the hell out of the report. One, I don't believe that just simply getting to a bowl game at Arkansas this year is enough for Sam Pittman to keep his job. And I actually think right now things can change. Still have Texas next week, still have Missouri to end the season. I believe even a win over Louisiana Tech to get bowl eligible isn't enough to keep Sam Pittman. And I think it's more likely than not right now that he's actually not back. Okay, so let me explain. And it's funny because, I think a lot of people look back to 2-3 years ago, 2021 season, Arkansas gets 9 wins. Sam Pittman is a conquering hero. Okay, listen, that era was awesome. And Sam Pittman always will, whether it's after this year, after next year, whenever he's gone, always needs to get credit for cleaning up the mess that was left by his predecessor. Chad Morris, one of the worst coaches in college football history as far as I'm concerned, at least at Arkansas. Had some moments at SMU, okay? But why I bring it up is pretty straightforward, is that when I look at the situation in Arkansas, first of all, 2 wins in the 2020 COVID season, step in the right direction after you hadn't won an SEC game in forever. 2021, that was the year Pittman got 9 wins. But increasingly, I think it's pretty obvious that year was the outlier of outliers for the Sam Pittman year, okay? First of all, it was the early part of the COVID era. You had a lot of guys come back, use an extra year of eligibility that they wouldn't have had, and some stuff broke your way. You beat LSU, close game. That was the year LSU fires Ed Orgeron, okay? So you beat LSU in the middle of a coaching change. You destroy Texas at home. That was Sark's first year. Texas goes 5-7. They've clearly been getting better ever since. And so you get credit for 9 wins. Nobody's not trying to credit you for 9 wins. But the counter to that is we've seen the last couple of years. 7-6 in 2022, 4-8 last year. And then this year, you spent a lot of money to bring in Bobby Petrino, a lot of money to fix some things, and you're sitting at 5-4 in the middle of the season. Now, to be clear, I think most people felt like if you get bowl eligible this year, that's probably enough. What I think has changed, though, is a couple things. Is what has really changed, in my opinion, and by the way, Arkansas fans, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm just dead wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to drop the comments in the comment section. But what, in my opinion, has changed, it's not just that Arkansas is 5-4. What I believe the frustration has become, nobody knows what the heck they're getting from this team and this program week to week, okay? Early in the season, you're losing games and they're close and you're frustrated and whatever. But you should have beat Oklahoma State. By the way, that loss looks worse and worse by the week. Should have beat Oklahoma State. Probably should have beat Texas A&M. Close losses, whatever. What has been frustrating for Arkansas fans, I believe, and I don't want to speak for a fan base, but this is just my outside perception. Every week you're getting something a little bit different and you never know what you're going to get, right? You have that great Tennessee win a month ago, whatever it was, early October. It was a great win. It was a great moment. Sam Pittman deserved that moment. Everybody's happy for him. You've been on the brink. You can't quite get over the hump, on and on. Here's the issue, though, is that you look at what has happened since. You beat Tennessee. You go into a bye. Everybody's feeling good. Vibes are at an all-time high. Then you come back and in a rivalry game, a complete no-show against LSU. Basically, the only good game LSU's played all year, if we're being perfectly honest, okay? So complete no-show against LSU. Then a week later, you play Mississippi State. What do we make of this team? Oh, they're awesome. They destroy Mississippi State. Then you come home, you play Ole Miss, and you get destroyed by Ole Miss at home. And listen, Ole Miss is a good team, but it was a total no-show. And that's been the ebb and flow of the season. Listen, it's one thing, any fan can relate to this. It's one thing if you just lose to a better team. It happens to everybody. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're a Packers fan or a Detroit Lions fan or a Chicago Bulls fan. Everybody has games where your team loses because the other team is better. What you can't take if you're a fan is one, losing games that you shouldn't, but never knowing what you're going to get. Like the Tennessee game proved that when the staff is locked in and the players are locked in and everybody's rowing in the same direction, you can play with and beat anybody. The game the other day, though, against Ole Miss proves you don't show up, you can lose to anybody. And what really stood out to me about the Ole Miss game, I was telling producer Matt this, we do our college football betting show on Wednesdays. You know, I always like to look at ticket prices going into a game to kind of see what's the vibe around a city and a community. You know, tickets were like $25 for that Ole Miss Arkansas game last week. Top 15, top 20 team in town, sort of a rival team that you've had success against. And what stood out watching on TV, there were a lot of empty seats at Razorback Stadium. I understand it was an 11 a.m. kickoff, but you just looked, it was like, wow, there's a lot of people not showing up for these games. And so what comes to mind with Sam Pittman, I think the fan base is just kind of giving up. And I think that's a bad place to be if you're an administration, if you're a whatever. In a lot of ways, you know what it actually reminds me of? I think I've said this before. My nephew's a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I know Dak Prescott's hurt now, but even before Dak got hurt. And by the way, for the Arkansas Cowboy overlap fans, I'm sorry for even bringing this up. But I remember talking to my nephew a few weeks ago, and I was like, "How you feeling about the team?" Da 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 da. He's like, "It's like it is what it is. Dak's not good enough. Jerry's too stubborn, and things are not going well." By the way, shout out to Jerry, who's also a Razorbacks booster. So who knows? Maybe somebody will send this to him. And I'm sorry, Jerry, for criticizing you. By the way, I can't be fired from a radio station because own this show. Anyway, neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to make is my nephew was just like, there's just no reason to get excited. I just get sad watching my team. And I believe that's kind of the frustration with Arkansas fans right now, is it's just kind of one of those like, you know what? Team isn't very good. We might have the great moment against Tennessee, but it's not sustainable. We didn't build off of it. And so even when you have that one-off great moment, that one moment doesn't become a great season. And so to me, I think there's a couple variables at play here. One, Pittman, he's an older guy. Like I was told even when things were going good, when he beat Tennessee, that he might retire. You know, the program's in pretty good shape and he might step away after this season. I don't know. I could go on and on, but I think my belief is that there will be some sort of mutual thing that happens at the end of the year where he's probably not back in 2025. Does he retire? Does he get fired? Obviously, we know the buyout situation where the percentage of win total has to go under a certain percentage and they don't have to pay him nearly as much. The only point I'm trying to make, maybe he comes back. I don't believe he's going to be the Arkansas. And it's not like a 95-5, like 95% chance he's gone. But I would say 55. I don't think he's going to be the coach next year. And I don't know if it's retirement. I don't know if he steps aside. I don't know if he gets fired. I don't know if it's what. But I just don't buy that report, not because the reporter aren't good, not because they're not working hard. I just think the vibe down there is a little bit not quite as good as maybe a lot of people think.